Chair of the House Foreign Relations Committee, Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, and joins us now with her reaction to the surveillance news. And as we're learning things minute by minute, Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Shannon.
What are your concerns? Because some of your colleagues, and there are folks on both sides of the aisle, have said they're very troubled by this. Others have said, hey, the American people knew that we had to do things that would help us to catch terrorists, and that's what we're doing.
Well, I'll be interested in hearing from the officials when we get that briefing on Tuesday. President Obama, of course, once again misstated the truth when he said all members of Congress have been briefed. We all knew about this program. That is not true. But the problem with this administration is that this is a pattern of deception and a pattern of trying to target political enemies. And that's why I think there's so much mistrust in the country right now about this program, because we saw what happened with Benghazi, a total distortion of the truth that is still going on. And now Susan Rice has been elevated to this position of power. She's being rewarded for her political talking points having nothing to do with the truth. We saw the IRS scandal where they're targeting conservative and Republican groups. We've seen the Fast and Furious and Eric Holder refusing to take responsibility for his action. It's just been one scandal after another. And this is a president who campaigned and clearly stated that he was totally against President George W. Bush's policies regarding surveillance and interceptions and trying to track people who are trying to do harm to our country. And now he's totally changed and makes it seem like what Bush was doing was totally wrong, but what he's doing strikes that delicate balance. We have a lot of mistrust, I think, on both sides of the aisle because of the pattern of deception that we've been seeing. So let's see. Of course, I'm for that delicate balance. We've got to keep our homeland safe. National security is paramount. But let's see how they got the data, what they're using the data for, and I think there's some healthy skepticism about what's been going on.
I want to ask you, because you mentioned Ambassador Susan Rice and now being tapped to be the President's National Security Advisor, obviously a position that doesn't mean she would go before the Senate, any of your colleagues on the other side of the Hill, to have to answer questions about Benghazi. But, you know, for the President to choose her, it re-sparks the conversation. Benghazi. Do you think it's going to raise more questions and maybe create more trouble for the President than he would have anticipated, or do you think he knew it was coming when he decided to assign her the new role?
Well, I think her appointment to this new role is clearly to avoid any Senate confirmation, any questioning of her mishandling of this Benghazi tragedy, a terrorist attack. The President said he clearly called it a terrorist attack the day after. That is untrue. And Susan Rice is being rewarded for being loyal to telling lies to the American people, not loyal for the truth, but loyal to the President and keeping the same talking points and the same stretching of the truth, and that's being mild about what went on in Benghazi, resulting in the deaths of 4 Americans, not just the ambassador, but these 3 other brave men, and we're still finding out details about how those talking points were doctored, how they were changed, what merited her change from the U.S. ambassador to the UN to this highly valuable position of National Security Advisor. What credibility does she bring to the table when she meets with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, with members of the President's security team? She will be looked upon as a mouthpiece for President Obama, a very person who's loyal to the President. But what gravitas, what credibility does she bring? I think very little, because she still has to answer for the Benghazi misstatements and the distortion of the facts. And the families of those 4 dead Americans deserve to know the truth. So I think it's a very bad announcement of this news. I don't think she merits it, and I think it brings down the importance of this position. But she's clearly being rewarded for helping the President out of this jam.
Well, Congresswoman, we need investigation to exactly what happened there is far from over. Thank you so much for your time today.